This is the Patriot.
Hey, this is Skylar.
My name's the Devil's Reject.
I'm the big-time wrestling heavyweight champion, Flex Armstrong.
I'm the connected Colonel.
Share.
Rusev Day every day?
It's Rusev Day every day.
Exactly.
And you're watching the Wrestling Connection.
You're watching Wrestling Connection.
And watch the Wrestling Connection.
You're watching the Wrestling Connection.
I hear that women gain immortality from licking the feet of babies.
What? Say.
Be connected, get connected, and stay connected, brothers.
Allison.
Hello, Allison, and welcome to the.
Be connected, get connected, stay connected.
Let's get the big, of course, with the official presentation. Thank you.
Get connected, be evil, or die.
Moving on.
Be connected, get connected, stay connected.
Hello and welcome to episode 264 of the most must-see award-winning talk show to ever hit Bedford Airways, or any airways for that matter. North, south, east, west, backwards, frontwards, sideways, diagonal, however which way you look at it, all around the world, the Wrestling Connection. And this is our WrestleMania pay-per-review. View. A lot of stuff has happened this week. WrestleMania week is always full of stuff. You have the G1 Supercard, which was a great show, and apparently Enzo's not done with wrestling, as we all thought. We had NXT, which had a new champ, which we had a new heavyweight champion, NXT heavyweight champion, and yet somehow the War Raiders still were able to hold their belts. Shayna Baszler was still able to hold their belts, and the surprising of all, Velveteen Dream was still able to hold his belt over Matt Riddle, while everyone expected Walter to take away the UK belt. And next week, more than likely, I'll probably be going over the John Oliver report about WWE and what I believe is correct and what I believe is incorrect. But for now, we are here for a WrestleMania. As you can also see, I'm without the belts. Yeah, I made two big mistakes, which cost me. So I'll get into those when we get to those. But a lot of surprising end results with these. So we're going to get to the first match. Next slide, please. Is the Cruiserweight match with Buddy Murphy versus Tony Nese. This was a surprise. Everybody assumed Buddy Murphy would take this because Tony Nese has been there since the beginning of the 205 Live division. You know, he was always seen more of as a joke, never as a real contender. If you thought someone was going to take the belt off Buddy Murphy, you'd think Cedric Alexander or maybe Mustafa Ali, if he ever comes back and contends for that. But Tony Nese never really seemed like the top guy. But lately, he's been going on and doing things in NXT as well, and he's been showing off more of what he can do. And he's definitely a very competitive athlete. And this match is no exception. There's great moments, like, for example, when Buddy Murphy was trying to hit him off the apron, but he does a cartwheel over and then gets him with a elbow. There's a moment where Buddy Murphy drops Tony on top of the turnbuckle. There's the moment where Tony Nese does a moonsault onto Buddy Murphy. There's even the fact that Buddy hit Murphy's Law, and Tony got his foot on the ropes. It was a great match and very competitive. Of course, they were going to put it as the very first match because, one, it's a great way to get people excited, but two, Vince doesn't care about the cruiserweights. Case in point, Tony Nese is now your cruiserweight champion. I am 0 for 1. Next slide, please. The Women's Battle Royal. Some surprising results in this one. Asuka did make it to the Final Four, which was very cool, but she wasn't really the most dominant force in this match. Surprisingly enough, I'd say Ember Moon and the Riot Squad both were some of the most dominant forces in this competition here. Definitely a lot of teamwork with the Riot Squad, a lot of eliminations there. Kairi Sane was eliminated by Lana, if I recall correctly. Ember Moon with a lot of crazy stunts. Nice look, too. The fire seems to be gone and more for a black and yellow eclipse theme, along with some new face paint, which was very nice. But in the end, also Dana Brooke eliminating Ruby Riott and Liv Morgan. That was a surprise. In the end, Sarah Logan knocks off Asuka, so Sarah Logan seems to be the winner until Carmella emerges, revealing she had not been eliminated. Eliminate Sarah Logan, and Carmella is your women's champion for the second ever Rumble for them. Naomi was first, Carmella second. Let's see if they actually do something with it. Okay, next slide, please. The Raw Tag Team Championships are on the line with a Revival, one of many people considered the best teams from NXT, taking on Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins. My boys from Long Island. You know, so don't think I don't like Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins. But Kurt Hawkins has a unwinning streak. A record unwinning streak. He does not have a single win under his belt. And Zack Ryder is Zack Ryder. You know, he could do well, but it's rare when you see it happen. But, believe it or not, he also does have a surprising record of winning championships at WrestleMania. He did, in fact, win the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania 31. He did lose it the next day, though. So, this match was mostly Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder cutting the ring off halfway, keeping Zack Ryder from Kurt Hawkins, instead just, mocking Kurt Hawkins, making sure, just saying, just stay there and lose like you always do. And there's some great spots. There is the brain buster on outside the ring, which was nasty looking. So we thought Kurt Hawkins was done. But when he gets rolled back in the ring, and if I remember, I believe it was Scott Dawson, posing for the crowd and mocking him, I'm like, he's going to roll him up with a 3 count. This is going to be Kurt Hawkins' win. And it was. Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins are your new Raw Tag Team Championships. And the Revival are no longer the champions. Lost it at Mania. Lost again the night after, so they're still without the championships. And more than likely, probably AEW bound. I mean, they could at least say they had the belts for a time. But you know who else could say that? Gallows and Anderson, and they aren't happy with where they are. The Raw division is a joke, unfortunately. The B team, people were like, oh, that's interesting. Wait, they still have the belts? And Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder were like, oh, hey, they got the belts. That's cool. Wait, they're still the champs? There's no 2 teams that have enough momentum where we're interested in them. So, I don't know. Maybe Aleister Black and Ricochet will be on Raw. Maybe the Usos will get moved to Raw. Maybe the Bar will give it to her. Who knows? But they need a legitimate tag team that seems to be worth their salt. Until then, it was a surprise. That's all it was. Next slide, please. The Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. All right, so this is mostly what was expected. The only person you really thought had a chance was Braun Strowman, and the winner was Braun Strowman. I mean, come on. I mean, there were some really cool spots. There was Luke Harper. Yes, Luke Harper was here. Surprising, right? Luke Harper lifting Mustafa Ali, going for a suplex to the outside, and Braun Strowman boots Luke Harper off the ring for a scary bump, but it was still pretty cool. Andrade accidentally eliminating himself with a Hurricane Rana, and I even forgot who he eliminated. I think it was either Apollo Crews or Titus O'Neil. I could be wrong on that, though. And then there was a spot where the Hardy Boys were trying to eliminate Braun Strowman, and then the Saturday Night Live guys, yes, I don't watch Saturday Night Live anymore, so I don't even know their names. It was Jost and Che were their last names. Came running back in because they immediately slid out of the ring at the beginning of the match and hit underneath. They tried getting in and helping them remove them, but Braun, boomed them all away. And then there was a segment where one of them said, "You need to chill. Here's my therapist." So the therapist gets destroyed. And then, clubbed one of them out of the ring. And then chucked the other one into a crowd of waiting superstars to make sure they're not hurt. And there you have it. Your winner, Braun Strowman. That was my only correct pick in the entire pre-show. Why? This was an interesting WrestleMania. Now for the main card. Next slide, please. You see that right, people. So the show kicked off with Alexa Bliss, who had 4 different segments throughout the night, and all of them in a very different and very nice dresses. She called out Hulk Hogan, which, got cheers and boos. So, make of that what you will. But the best part of that segment was as his music's playing for the segment to close, Paul Heyman interrupts and walks down the ring. Best part. Yes, Brock Lesnar versus Seth Rollins. So as Paul Heyman's walking down, the music's still playing. So you hear, "I am a real American," for the Jew coming down. It was great. I loved it. And he's like, no, 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 no. If Brock Lesnar is not the main event, then he's going first, and we're going to win and get out of here and go to Vegas. Your first match is Brock Lesnar versus Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins got a pretty cool Beast Slayer opening. So that was nice. And the match basically did, Seth was walking down, Brock grabs him, and destroys him on the outside. F5 here, F5 there, German there, toss around, toss around, toss around. Finally, puts it back in the ring. Then the bell hits. Then suplex, suplex, suplex. Goes for an F5. Seth just barely squirms his way out, pushes him into the ref. Brock turns around, low blow. Seth does what he needs to in order to win. Brock's down, but it's not all in the ground. Curb stomp. Brock's getting back up. Curb stomp. Brock's getting back up. Curb stomp. Pin. 1, 2, 3. Your champion, Seth Rollins. First match of the card. The main card. And Brock already lost his belt. That was unexpected. That was almost unprecedented. Brock Lesnar just lost his belt, and according to Seth Rollins, can go to Vegas and stay there for all he cares. Seth is your new fighting champion. Good call. I mean, Brock had to lose the belt. The only way he would hold the belt is if they wanted to see him as the multi-brand champion. But honestly, after what they pulled last year at Mania, where Brock beat Roman, and people were booing because they were so upset, they needed to get the belt off of him. And they are actually positioning Seth to be that man, and it's great to have. So hopefully we could have him with a long, lengthy reign, and hopefully Drew will take the belt from him, and then maybe we'll be able to get Drew versus Roman for the belt, something like that. Next slide, please. This one. Here is my first big mistake. You see, Randy Orton actually has a good record at WrestleMania. He doesn't lose often at WrestleMania. And I thought, for example, again, WrestleMania 31. Seth Rollins versus Randy Orton. Seth may have left that WrestleMania as champion, but he did not come out of that WrestleMania unscathed, because that was the dawning of the curb stomp, pop-up, RKO. I thought that what they would have wanted was an RKO to make people happy. Guess what? There was an RKO, but a regular RKO, not a catching RKO. AJ kicked out of the regular RKO and was able to defeat Randy Orton. He tricked him into one of them, got him with the 450, and then he did a 450 outside, tossed him back in, and then phenomenal forearm. 1, 2, 3. AJ Styles is your champion of this match, and this was the beginning of the end for me. Orton. When I wanted Bray to win and keep the belt, you won it. The one time I actually went for you, you failed me. You failed me for the last time. All right, next slide, please. I'm done seeing this. Hey! Great match. Fun match. From left to right. Yes, got it. Aleister Black. No. Ricochet and Aleister Black. The Usos. The Bar. And Rusev Amura. Yes, Rusev Amura or Nakamusev. However you want to call it. Probably, let's call him Moose. Mora and Rusev. Moose. So, great match as expected with all four of these guys. Tons of spots. You know, there was kick, super kicks everywhere. There was Ricochet being on the top turnbuckle and all the other guys leading into like that giant Tower of Doom with tons of suplexes and power bombs and all that stuff. And it happened because every single person who was except Aleister Black was a part of this. They all did it, and somehow, some way, Ricochet managed to land on his feet and fall out and go, whoa, what happened? Did I survive? How did I survive? How did I survive? Fun. You had Ricochet breaking up a pin with a shooting star press, a standing shooting star press, because of course he did. You had Ricochet hitting someone with the 630, thinking that he had the pin, but nope. He was broken up from somebody on every single side of the ring. A cross-shaped interference. Break up the pin. There was the incredible Cesaro. Like, how many rotations? Like a 30-plus rotation on Ricochet. And as he's doing it, Sheamus has somebody constantly switching on the outside doing the beats of the Baldwin. So he had it on, Rusev. He had it on Nakamura. He had it on Aleister Black. He had it on the Usos. Over and over and over again. It was nuts. It was fun. And in the end, the Usos managed to get back in with a super kick, a double super kick, and a splash to retain the SmackDown Tag Team Champions. One of the few who actually was able to keep their belts. Though apparently they couldn't keep it for long because they lost it on Tuesday to the Hardy Boys. Yes. I'm thinking maybe that means that Usos are going to go to Raw, or maybe this is one of the Hardys' last hurrahs, and once they lose the belts, they're done. I want them to be able to walk away from the ring, not crawl away from the ring. We'll get to that later. Next match, please. The Falls Count Anywhere match. Miz versus Shane. All right. First off, Shane refused to come down to the ring until the announcer got it right. Introducing the best in the world, Shane McMahon. Had to try it 3 times before he got it right. And then the Miz comes out, immediately tries to brawl. And Shane, of course, does not know how to pull his punches. So rabbit punch, and you're like, ow, ow, ow. Gets Shane down, gets him on the announce table, gonna go for a leap of faith elbow drop, and Miz's dad gets in the way. Miz's dad's like, no! Shane allows him in the ring. Miz's dad, Mr. Potato Head, as people are starting to call him, the sack of potatoes, George Mizanin, gets in the ring and goes like this. Shane's like, Moves his fist, so he's more like this now. And he's like, okay, are you happy, or are we going to do this? Headbutt. Miz Dad gets a shot in on Shane. Shane does not approve, and Shane beats him down until the Miz gets between them, runs Shane away, yells, somebody help my dad, get him help. He yelled a lot. How is there no security? There's no people to help him. I mean, it should not take a full minute for someone to be like, hey, I'm here, I can help. No. But after that, the Miz was on a warpath. Falls Count Anywhere finally applied here. Beats him through the crowd to a little side area, tosses him onto a golf cart, lands on the golf cart, then slides off and hits the ground hard. You thought that could have been the end. No, Shane kicks out. Then he tosses him to the international booths, the international commentator booths. Toss him through some of those tables. Then they get to a scaffolding, and this is where it's like, oh no. They climb the scaffolding to the very top. Shane's like, I'm sorry, okay, I'm sorry. Miz is like, my name is the Miz. You attacked my father. Prepare to die. Beats him down, picks him up, superplex off the scaffolding. They both fall down to their doom. And then as the camera zooms in on them, you realize because of the way someone superplexes, Shane is actually on top of the Miz. 1, 2, 3. You're a champion not by his own accord. You're a winner not by his own accord. Shane McMahon, people. And boy, did he let people know it on Tuesday. Where once again, he was mad at the announcer for not doing it well enough. Like, try again. Nope, I don't feel it. Try again. Nope. Do it right this time or there will be consequences. Shane McMahon. And then gets it right, and then he's fine. Okay. So, yeah, fun match, entertaining, definitely a WrestleMania-worthy match. Of course, that's expected from Shane McMahon nowadays. So, good on him. Next match, please. Ah, yes, the women's tag match. This is the other one that screwed me over. So, we have from left to right, Tamina, Nia, the champions, Bayley, Sasha Banks. And then you have Billie Kay and Peyton Royce, who came out as Maleficent and her pet crow, which is cute. And then lastly, Beth Phoenix and Natalya, who came out in the Divas of Doom, who came out in matching attire with Bret Hart behind them, which was nice. I had Boston Hug Connection because I still see, need to go to NXT to challenge people like the Sky Pirates there. All in all, this was a good match. It was fun. There was, of course, botches, but there always is, unfortunately, especially when Nia and Tamina are involved. There was a botched Simone drop. Expected. Probably the best laugh I had came from the Iconics beating down one, I think it was Bayley, when Iconics won. I was like, what? Okay. You had... Let's see what else. You had a worrying moment where it looked like Nia and Tamina were going to do a double splash. That was terrifying. Luckily, they stopped that. They put the kibosh on that. They got Nia off the top, basically removed her from the rest of the match. Tamina was worried, and then she gets removed as well. And then, of course, the finisher of the match was Beth Phoenix with a top rope glam slam. Her finisher, which was a wicked-looking move. But before she could get the pin, the Iconics roll her out of the ring and pick up the opportunistic victory. Your new champions, the Iconics. And you know what? I can't be mad at it. I think that Bayley and Banks are the best team out of the four. But you can't really deny that, seeing two friends who've gone through hell to get to where they are now, and they actually are champions. It's very heartwarming to see, especially when you saw how happy they were that they won the belts. Of course, now they're going on this record streak that they as best they can by bringing in, jobbers and saying that they're amazing champions and undefeated as they beat the Brooklyn Bells. It's funny. Paige says she's going to be bringing in a new surprising team, so we'll see who that is. It could be the Sky Pirates. Kairi Sane did just lose her last chance at getting the belt from Shayna, so could be. That'd be cool to see. But I haven't looked at it yet, but apparently Sasha is really upset with WWE right now. I really hope it's not because she lost the belts, because that's a bit petty. I mean, she's a 5-time champion or something like that through her matches with Charlotte. And she's the first ever women's tag team championship. So, we have to wait and see what happens there. I'll bring it up. I'll bring the news to you as I learn of it. Okay, next match, please. Match of the night. Definitely match of the night. You had Daniel Bryan versus Kofi Kingston for the WWE Championship. Great build. A little too much interference from the McMahons, I'd say, but it definitely did pay off when Kofi should have won his gauntlet and instead got screwed. And then when New Day, even when they got screwed, they were so beloved and they still managed to eke out a victory so Kofi could get the spot. Unfortunately, too many things may have given away the ending. Big E seen with a present of some kind next to a pedestal where the championship would normally go, but it already looked like there was something there, aka a championship. And apparently, for those who were on Twitter or went to WWE.com, they would have noticed that there was new merch for the New Day about championships there 30 minutes before the match started. Really? Regardless, once the match started, you basically forgot about all of that. These two have great chemistry, and despite the fact that Kofi can't seem to get his double foot stomp down, it also made it seem like he was desperate to win. And there was back and forth all the way. Daniel Bryan, of course, doing what he does best, stretching you until you can't move. Tons of submission holds. Somehow Kofi continues to get through them all. There was his patented spot where he has you by the hands and he stomps on your head. Kofi got him back and did the same thing to him, and that was beautiful. Kofi kicks out of the running knee, which he's done before, but it's still very impressive because not a lot of people can kick out of that. You had Rowan trying to interfere, beating up Xavier and Big E, but Kofi manages to get him with the Trouble of Paradise. You had Daniel Bryan kicking out of the Trouble in Paradise, which was huge. So you weren't really sure which way it was going. But in the end, another Trouble in Paradise. Kofi gets the 1, 2, 3. Kofi is your first African-American, first black man, not with a star next to his name, aka The Rock, to not only win the WWE Championship, but also be a Grand Slam champion, meaning he won all the major belts you could win in his division, which is very impressive. Great to see. His kids, Orion and Kai, came in, and they had the new belt there, which was the old belt, not the planet-friendly belt, as it were, the leather one, the black leather strap. And inside the present was the shirts that were on the WWE shop before the match happened. But in the end, it was a great feel-good moment, and hopefully they do a lot of things with it. I mean, on Raw, they teased a winner-take-all match, but that was a bad move because it wasn't going to happen. And on SmackDown, we got the New Day versus The Bar and Drew McIntyre, which was a good match for what we got out of it. And Kofi gets the wins because he should be getting the win because he's a champion. He needs to be kept strong for as long as he can. Apparently, Daniel Bryan might actually be injured, so we might not see him for a while. But it was best match of the night, by far. And we still had 2 hours to go. Next, please. Now, the United States Championship match. One of the only other guys who was able to hold on to his belt and also the shortest match of the night, because it was already discussed that Ray was injured before the match. So we thought, well, there's a chance the match could be pulled. No, it just was done in under a minute. The two square up. Ray, of course, coming out dressed as Mysterio from Spider-Man. Rey Mysterio dressed as Mysterio. Go figure. Goes in, 619, jumps off the top rope. Joe catches him, pushes him on the ground, Coquina clutch, passed out. Your winner in under a minute, Joe. It was fun. It was surprising. It does not hurt to have a fast match, especially if you come out ridiculously overpowered looking. Ray is not an easy guy to take down, and Joe took him down, and Joe put him to sleep in under a minute. That's good stuff. I'm happy about that. Now, before we continue, I don't remember exactly where this was, so I'm just going to bring this up. There was an Elias segment. It was pretty funny. First, everybody, ladies and gentlemen, Elias, who appears on Titantron with drums. We already knew he's multi-talented with all different instruments. So he plays the drums very well. Then he cuts away. Ladies and gentlemen, Elias. And then he appears again with a piano. And plays the piano very well. Ladies and gentlemen, Elias, who's now in the middle of the ring with his guitar. And then they do a 3-man, but 1-man band. And I'm just sitting there and I say it. I'm like, so they're basically telling you that he likes to play with himself. And you can't get mad at me for saying it. You can't get mad at me for saying it because John Cena came out later and said the exact same thing. On TV, he said it. It wasn't it was my joke originally, but they thought it was funny enough to say it on TV too. It is a family program, and they said that. John Cena, who came out in his original, the basic thugonomics gimmick, as it were, where he rapped on Elias, mocking him the entire time, and gave him the AA, but called it what it used to be known as F you. So the Forget You, let's call it. The Forget You, he performed on Elias, and he walked off into the sunset to greater pastures. And we'll see what he does from there. It was a fun segment. All right, next slide, please. Okay, Drew McIntyre versus Roman Reigns. This one was pretty straightforward. It was a hard-hitting match back and forth. That's what I wanted. It was Roman Reigns' first singles match back after he beat his Romania. Oh my God, I can't believe I just said that. He beat his leukemia back into remission. Apologies, I didn't mean it that way. Roman Reigns beat leukemia back into remission and won a revenge on Drew McIntyre, who's been beating the Shield down systematically one by one. It was a great, hard-hitting match, including Glasgow Kiss, the headbutt, drive-bys on the side, Superman punches, claymores, Future Shock DDTs, and to finish it off, of course, a spear. Spear, 1, 2, 3, as expected, Roman Reigns. It was a short and sweet match. It was the result was expected because Roman Reigns did need some momentum because he is now a leader and what's the word? A role model for, fighting against the odds, as it were. Okay, next card, please. Okay. Oh, boy. All right. I feel bad. I really do. These guys are not young. These guys are pushing 50 here. Triple H versus Batista. First off, of course, they got the best entrances. Some of the best entrances. Roman is not part of this. Batista comes out with a huge entourage because he is the big movie star. The cars were not friendly to these two. They both had car entrances and both, took too long, didn't know how to park. The door wouldn't open properly. Batista barges out. He gets his old intro, which is great. You know, the and, you know, pyro going off behind him like crazy. Steps through the ropes, falls on the ropes. He falls entering the ring. Drax the Destroyer failed to enter the squared circle. And then Triple H comes out, Mad Max inspired. Like, oh, it's kind of cool, but the graphics kind of stink. Okay, so where is he? Oh, there he is. He's going to be on that car, but the door is opening way too slowly. Oh, it's finally open. Okay, he comes out, drives down. I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool. Michael Cole, the dorkiest guy in all of WWE, goes, how cool was that? You ruined it. You ruined it. You should feel ashamed. You do not tell somebody that it was cool, because if you're a dork and you tell someone it's cool, they think it's a dork thing to think it's cool. So, congratulations. Already all momentum for this match is gone. But this is Batista's last match. He had said that win or lose, it's his final match. But if Triple H loses, it is his last match as well. Well, guess what? Triple H wins. Triple H wins. It's a no holds barred, meaning no DQ, meaning a toolbox came out where he hits Batista in the head, and then he whips him with a chain, hits him with a chair, grabs needle nose pliers and rips out his nose ring. I mean, all brutal stuff. But after that, no joke, these two are already spent. The match now moves like at a snail's pace, trying to get to the spots they had set up. So I'll tell you the spots they set up. They set up multiple drops onto the announcer table to hopefully maybe break one of them, which eventually did happen with a spear through the third. But, you know, they're back body drops on them and nothing. Only one of them broke. And then they grabbed the stairs and brought those in. And there was a back body drop on the stairs, which looked spine buster on the stairs, which looked nasty. There was a Batista bomb, which Triple H was able to get away from without losing. There was sledgehammers that were brought out, and Batista was able to stop himself from getting hit with it via Batista bomb, as I was trying to say before. Ric Flair came out to distract Batista and also hand Triple H a second sledgehammer. So Batista turns around holding a sledgehammer, telling Rick, "Watch what I'm going to do to Triple H." Turns around. Triple H jumps off the stairs. Superman sledgehammer to the face. And then pedigree. 1, 2, 3. Triple H wins. Now, that sounds exciting, doesn't it? The match was too long. These guys were so worn out they could barely struggle to get to their feet at most points. And I'm glad Batista got his match that he wanted, but I don't think he'll be proud of it. Batista's not the animal he once was. He's old, he's worn down. Let the sleeping animal lie. I mean, I hope they enjoyed the match. I hope they got out of it what they wanted. Speaking of, next match. Kurt Angle deserved better. I get what they're going for. I do. I get it. Baron Corbin is already a massive heel right now, but not for the ways they wanted. He's not a heel because we hate him and want him beaten up. He's a heel because he's annoying and we want him to leave. There's a term called X-Pac heat, and you're hated just for existing. Yes, he has that, but you know what? Doesn't mean he deserved Kurt Angle's final match. And of course, because of that, he beat Kurt Angle. Which, unfortunately, I said Kurt Angle because I wanted to go with my heart. But if you know anything about Kurt Angle and the boys before him who have all gone out, they've gone out on their backs, not standing tall. The Dudleys did it. Ric Flair did it. Shawn Michaels did it. Mick Foley did it. Austin did it. The Rock did it. You see all those names I mentioned? Ric Flair. His final match in WWE was to Shawn Michaels, one of the biggest names of all. Shawn Michaels, his retiring match was The Undertaker. I'm going to ignore what happened last year at Saudi Arabia. Was The Undertaker. Undertaker did it. He lost to Roman Reigns. Like, love him or hate him, he's one of the biggest stars of the company. Austin's last match, I believe, was against The Rock. Rock's last match, he lost to John Cena. Mick Foley's retiring match, one of his many, was Triple H, it was Randy Orton. All the guys he came back to were giant names which he was putting over. Goldberg. Goldberg's last match was Brock Lesnar. Kurt Angle, Hall of Famer. Kurt Angle, Olympic gold medalist. Kurt Angle, a man people were aspired to be. Lost to Baron Corbin. The only things I'm going to mention is that there were German suplexes. There were the ankle lock that Baron was able to get out of because he's too long. There was the angle slam that Baron was able to get out of. There was the deep six that Kurt kicked out of. There was a moonsault attempt, which failed, which led to the end of days, which to the 1, 2, 3. And, you know, Kurt was like, you know, thank you for cheering me throughout all these years. Can I please get a "you suck" to wish me well? You'd have to be a wrestling fan to get it. Kurt deserved better. Baron Corbin was the wrong call. You should have done Drew McIntyre. Have Roman go against Baron Corbin. Have him win there. Drew McIntyre is an aspiring star that people want to see go farther. If you're not going to do John Cena, as people were saying, you should have done Drew McIntyre. Congratulations. You got what you wanted. No one was happy about it. Next, please. Bobby Lashley, who came out looking like Garrus from Mortal Kombat, look it up, versus the Demon Finn Balor. All right, the moment Finn was going to come out as the Demon, we already knew Finn was winning. But props to Lashley, he did not make it easy. Lashley, like Finn, when he puts on the face paint, was way more vicious, in my opinion, than he normally is. You know, his spears looked devastating. His suplexes looked painful. His power bombs looked ferocious, and he seemed menacing. Why have we not seen that till now? But in the end, as we expected, it was still a short match because, you know, if you're the Demon, you're not going to have a long match. You are going to be dominant no matter what happens. In the end, unless it's AJ Styles, apparently. In the end, Demon Finn Balor power bombs the giant Bobby Lashley. Coup de grace, 1, 2, 3. Finn Balor reclaims the IC belt. It is good to see the Demon's first appearance at WrestleMania. The Demon does not show up often enough, so it was nice to see. So, like I said, match was short, so is this. Next, please. Main event time. Charlotte, Becky, Ronda. Ronda came out to a live performance of her Bad Reputation, her theme song. Charlotte got flown in via helicopter, and Becky got smoke pyro. Okay. Becky doesn't really need pyro, I guess. Yeah, she's the man. But, you know, it would have been nice to see her get a little more than that. Match was hard-hitting from the get-go, not surprising considering. You know, there was a lot of hard-hitting moves. There was Ronda immediately wiping both Charlotte and Becky out, attacking both of them over and over again. There was the part where she got him in the double arm bar, and rather than both tapping out, instead they lifted her up and slammed her in the ground via a two-person powerbomb. There was, of course, the back and forth between Charlotte and Becky. There were the disarm her attempts. There was the figure 4 from Charlotte onto Ronda and turned into a figure 8, which Becky broke up with a top rope leg drop, which was very nice. Apparently, Ronda broke her hand during this match, which shows the fact these. And when you looked at her leg was bruised to hell. You know, these women were not holding back, which is one of the things I loved. I especially loved the Charlotte and Ronda match. That was nasty. Then Becky pulled out the table. I expected a kendo stick because they used that a lot. But no, she pulled out the table. Tried setting up the table. Ronda immediately removes the table and said, "Tables are for female dogs." So, instead, Charlotte gets it, sets it up in the corner, has speared both of them before, goes for another spear, and said Ronda and Becky lift her up, toss her into the table, and once again, Charlotte's true arch nemesis are tables. Because once again, Charlotte could not make the table break properly. So when the table breaks, it normally breaks like, instead, it's like, eh. So she has to sell it like death, even though the table really didn't budge much. Which leaves it to Ronda and Becky at about the halfway point of where this match would be. Because this match has not gone that long. You'd think for a main event, it'd be long. So Ronda gets Becky up for the Piper's Pit, goes for it, rolls through for the crucifix pin. Ref spins around. 1. Ronda pops off the ground, then pushed back on the ground. So you think that you reset it. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. You botched it. You botched it. The match is over. Becky wins. And I'm yelling, Ronda's shoulders weren't down for the entire 3 count. Redo it. Get to where you're supposed to be. Apparently, there's mixed information. Some saying that was a botched finish. That was not the way it was supposed to go. It was supposed to be disarm her on Charlotte. Some are saying, no, that was the finish. The only botch is that Ronda's shoulders popped up. I don't care. Redo it. It's the main freaking event. First ever women's, and you're going to leave it on a botch? Ugh. You sour the entire night. With the exception of Finn Balor, the last matches of the show were such downers. Now, Ronda, I'm assuming he's going to be off. Broken hand and all. She also probably wants to start a family. The way I see it, she's probably going to be gone for the 9 months, have her kid, then come back for another Mania match. I think that'd be a good idea. Charlotte's currently not in the picture. And Becky's going between Raw and SmackDown, claiming to be the champ, and getting punched in the face by Lacey Evans. As you do. It was a fun match. It was a fun show. The ending was a downer. The last bit was just, ugh. But, it's the past. Now we look to the future. I lost the belts. But because Zach couldn't be here for either showing, the belts are now considered vacant until SummerSlam. So I do intend on getting them back, but that also means I don't have to worry about them until then. So be sure to look forward to what I get to talk to in the future. Next week, I do plan on going over John Oliver's statements about the WWE and how they treat their superstars, which I found very eye-opening, but also some inaccuracies, which I would like to go over. Until then, I remind all of you, to enjoy wrestling, to enjoy what entertains you. And as always, be connected, get connected, stay connected. Have a good night, people. Play me out, please.
I've heard it too many times to ignore it. It's something that I'm supposed to be. Someday we'll find it, the wrestling connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me. La da da dee da da dee da doo.
Oh yeah! Oh yeah!
Have a good night, people.